Hello and welcome to Newsweek South Asia, your one-stop destination for in-depth analysis of security challenges, regional conflicts, and the evolving threat of terrorism. Let's take a look at the headlines first. India slams Pakistan for misusing UN platform to push Kashmir propaganda. Pakistan-backed terrorists neutralized in intense Jammu and Kashmir encounter. Human rights crisis in Balochistan. Activists targeted amid escalating violence. Once again, Pakistan has attempted to misuse an international platform to push its tired and baseless Kashmir propaganda. But this time, India hit back with a forceful and unequivocal rebuttal at the United Nations, exposing Islamabad's desperate attempts to deflect from its own internal crisis. During a UN Security Council debate on peacekeeping reforms, India's permanent representative, Ambassador Parvathaneni Harish, called out Pakistan for hijacking discussions with its misleading claims. His message was clear: Jammu and Kashmir is and will always remain an integral part of India. Report.
In yet another diplomatic slap to Pakistan, India forcefully countered Islamabad's repeated and baseless references to Jammu and Kashmir at the United Nations, exposing its desperate attempt to divert attention from its own internal failure. During a United Nations Security Council debate on peacekeeping reform, India's permanent representative, Ambassador Parvathaneni Harish, condemned Pakistan for once again bringing up Kashmir. He reiterated that Jammu and Kashmir was, is and will always remain an integral part of India and called out Pakistan's claim as unwarranted and misleading political propaganda.
India is compelled to note that the delegate of Pakistan has yet again resorted to unwarranted remarks on the Indian Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Such repeated references neither validate their illegal claims nor justify their state-sponsored cross-border terrorism. Jammu and Kashmir was, is, and will always be an integral part of India. Pakistan continues to illegally occupy the territory of Jammu and Kashmir, which it must vacate. We would advise Pakistan not to try to divert the attention of this forum to drive their parochial and divisive agenda.
Ambassador Harish's sharp remarks came in response to comments made by Syed Tariq Fatmi, Special Assistant to Pakistani Prime Minister, who tried to hijack the peacekeeping debate by bringing up the Kashmir issue. India's response was swift and firm, making it clear that Pakistan's constant references to Kashmir serve no purpose other than to mask its own governance failure and widespread human rights violation. Pakistan's diplomatic credibility has taken a severe beating over the years as global power increasingly recognize its Kashmir rhetoric as a hollow and diversionary tactic. While Islamabad continues to peddle falsehood, the world sees through its game. A country plagued by terrorism, economic instability, and minority persecution has no moral standing to lecture others.
Hindus and Christians in Pakistan continue to face repression from the state, its institutions, and religious extremist forces. Hindus are the largest religious minority in Pakistan, numbering about 3.8 million or 1.6% of the total population. Due to the rise of extremism, violent incidents against Hindus have increased manifold in the 4 decades. Young Hindu girls are repeatedly kidnapped and forced into marriages with men from the majority community who are often twice their own age and coerced to convert. There are also regular attacks on Hindu temples, and authorities do little to stop such horrendous attacks. Hundreds of members of Christian community have become victims of false blasphemy cases which carry the death penalty. They are also seen as representatives of Western powers and subjected to regular violent attacks by religious extremists.
Earlier this year in February, India had similarly dismantled Pakistan's false narrative at the UN Human Rights Council. Indian diplomat Kshitiz Tyagi exposed Pakistan's deteriorating democratic framework, stating that the country survives on international handouts while systematically eroding its own governance structure. India further underscored the importance of genuine peace and stability in the region, emphasizing that Pakistan must first put an end to its support for cross-border terrorism before attempting to discuss peacekeeping. New Delhi also reminded the global community of Pakistan's history of harboring UN-designated terrorists, a fact that directly contradicts its attempt to portray itself as a responsible international actor.
As a country where human rights abuses, persecution of minorities, and systematic erosion of democratic values constitute state policies, and which brazenly harbors UN-sanctioned terrorists, Pakistan is in no position to lecture anyone. Instead of its unhealthy obsession with India, Pakistan should focus on providing actual governance and justice to its own people.
While India moves forward with growth and stability, Pakistan continues its downward spiral into chaos. The country is reeling under an economic crisis, with inflation soaring to records high, essential goods becoming unaffordable, and foreign reserves dwindling. Pakistan's heavy reliance on financial bailouts from China and the International Monetary Fund only underscores its failing governance and economic mismanagement. The latest diplomatic showdown at the UN once again highlights the contrast between the two nations. While Pakistan remains fixated on spreading propaganda, India stands as a beacon of stability, democracy, and development. Islamabad's repeated failure on all fronts have only cemented its reputation as a state that thrives on deflection rather than progress.
The human rights crisis in Balochistan intensifies as activists face increasing repression. Recently, prominent figures like Mehrang Baloch have been detained in a significant crackdown on dissent, highlighting the ongoing struggle for justice in a region plagued by oppression. Amid this turmoil, Niaz Baloch, speaking at the UN Human Rights Council, condemned the Pakistani state for its systematic attempts to silence political opposition. The international community's growing concern underscores the urgent need for accountability and support for those advocating for human rights in Balochistan.
In a stark reminder of the ongoing struggle for human rights in Balochistan, Mehrang Baloch and several other activists have recently been detained in a significant crackdown on dissent. This region, long marked by oppression and violence, continues to witness the relentless efforts of those advocating for justice. Mehrang Baloch, known for her unwavering commitment to exposing the atrocities faced by the Baloch people, has become a prominent voice in highlighting the human rights abuses plaguing her homeland.
हम सब फिर यहाँ एक साथ हुए हैं, यकजा हुए हैं। हमारे तंजीम के साथी बीबर्ग बलोच को उनके भाई के हमरा कल रात गुंडागर्द सीटीडी फोर्सेस उठाकर लेकर गए। ना कोई अरेस्ट वारंट पेश किया गया, ना कोई एफआईआर पेश की गई। वही तरीकाकार अपनाया गया जो हर घर में बलोच के अपनाया जा रहा है। इन तमाम चीज़ों का मकसद यह है कि बलूचिस्तान में फिर से खौफ व हरास फैलाया जाए, बलूचिस्तान में फिर से सियासी अमल पर कदगन लगाई जाए। मगर हम इस रियासत और इसके अदारों को वाजिया करना चाहते हैं।
Her detention, along with that of fellow activists, has ignited outrage and concern among human rights advocates, both locally and internationally. Amid the ongoing turmoil in Balochistan, Niaz Baloch, a prominent Baloch activist from Baloch National Movement, recently took the international stage to deliver an account of the human rights crisis in Balochistan. At the UN Human Rights Council session, he condemned the Pakistani state for its systematic oppression aimed at silencing political opposition, underscoring the dire situation faced by activists.
I draw this Council's attention to the alarming human rights crisis in Balochistan, where the Pakistani state continues to suppress political dissent and violate fundamental freedoms. Political parties such as Baloch Student Organization Azad and Baloch National Movement face relentless persecution. Their members are arbitrarily detained, harassed and silenced, depriving the Baloch people of their right to peaceful political expression. Extrajudicial killings by state-backed death squads further show this harsh reality. Shahjahan Baloch, the brother of BSO Azad's missing chairman Zaid Baloch, was brutally killed in Nal as part of collective punishment inflicted on Baloch families. These killings, along with enforced appearances, are not isolated incidents, but a deliberate state policy to terrorize the Baloch nation.
This climate of fear in Balochistan is further exacerbated by enforced disappearances, which have become a chilling tool of oppression in Pakistan. Activists, intellectuals and medical professionals are increasingly targeted. Among the latest victims are Bibarg Zehri, a Central Committee member of the Baloch Executive Committee, and his brother Hamal, a scientist. Event figures like Ilyas Baloch, the vice principal of Bolan Medical College, have not been spared. These disappearances not only devastate individuals but also tear apart entire families. For instance, over a dozen members of the Kambarani family have vanished without a trace. The risks extend to human rights advocates, as evidenced by the reported arrest of Saida Baloch and her sister, highlighting the growing dangers for those who dare to speak out for justice.
Dr. Marang is someone who the Baloch nation fully supports. They are behind her because she is a leader, not an emerging leader, but she has been accepted a leader by the whole Baloch nation. And she actually is a nightmare for the Pakistan. Her struggle is a nightmare for the Pakistani state, and that is why what we are witnessing today is Pakistan is using their old tactics to suppress the voices of Balochistan by, arresting the Baloch leaders, by abducting them, and as we have seen in the past, like the leaders like Ghulam Muhammad Baloch, Zakir Majid Baloch, Zaid Baloch, and many other student and political leaders were abducted. Many of them were killed. Many are still in their dungeons. So now the case of Dr. Marang Baloch, Samidin Baloch, and other is same.
In Pakistan's poorest province, extrajudicial killings by state-backed death squads have surged, with one of the most alarming cases being the murder of Shah Jahan Baloch, brother of Zahid Baloch, the missing chairman of BSO Azad. His killing in Nal exemplifies the collective punishment inflicted on Baloch families. International human rights organizations have condemned these actions and called for independent investigations, but Islamabad dismisses such allegations as propaganda, allowing the cycle of violence and repression in Balochistan to persist unchecked.
Pakistan's obsession with fueling terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir has once again been exposed. In yet another desperate attempt to spread bloodshed, Pakistan-backed terrorists infiltrated into Katwa, triggering a fierce gun battle with security forces. The latest encounter underscores Islamabad's relentless efforts to destabilize the region, even as its own country plunges deeper into chaos. But India's security forces remain vigilant, determined to crush Pakistan-sponsored terrorism at its root. 3 Pakistan-backed terrorists were neutralized, and an equal number of Jammu and Kashmir policemen lost their lives in a fierce day-long encounter in Jammu and Kashmir's Katwa district. 7 others, including a deputy superintendent of police, sustained injuries in the high-intensity gunfight. According to official sources, the slain policemen include a head constable and 2 constables. The gun battle erupted as Jammu and Kashmir police intensified their crackdown on a recently infiltrated terror group believed to be from the Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed outfit. The encounter is part of a larger, ongoing 4-day counter-terror operation in the region. Indian security forces, including the Army, NSG, BSF, CRPF and police, have launched an all-out assault using advanced surveillance, UAVs and drones to track and eliminate the Pakistani infiltrators.
Pakistan ISI has shifted its attempt to do cross-border infiltration. Earlier, it used to be in Kashmir Valley. After Operation All Out and Article 370 was abrogated, infiltration over there has been very difficult for them. Then they slowly shifted their infiltration attempts from the Rajouri Poonch sector, because that sector gave quite a lot of cover by foliage and also ravines and other areas where infiltration could take place and the terrorists could hide. But after the incidents of Dangri and others, the security grid over there also has been strengthened, and now Pakistan thinks it's better for them to start this infiltration from the international border, that is Kathua, Samba sector.
Intelligence reports indicate that the terrorists are part of the same group that escaped after an encounter in Hiranagar on March 23rd, having infiltrated from Pakistan through a ravine or a newly constructed tunnel. On March 23rd, local villagers near Sanyal, just 5 kilometers from the border, reported sightings of 5 armed men. The border district of Kathua has emerged as a new hotspot for Pakistani infiltration, becoming a critical entry point for terrorists attempting to spread mayhem in the region. Over the past year, infiltrators have frequently used this route to move towards the higher reaches of Udhampur, Doda and Kishtwar, ultimately aiming to disrupt peace in the Kashmir Valley. The statistics are alarming. In 2024 alone, Jammu region has witnessed a series of terror attacks, resulting in 44 deaths, including 18 security personnel and 13 terrorists. The worst hit districts include Doda, Kathua and Riasi, each recording 9 killings, followed by Kishtwar 5, Udhampur 4, Jammu and Rajouri 3 each and Poonch 2. These figures highlight Pakistan's relentless efforts to destabilize Jammu and Kashmir, even as its own nation grapples with economic collapse and internal strife.
They are not bothered. When I say they, means the political class, the army, Pakistan Army and the ISI are not bothered at all about what their common man in Pakistan is facing. Their stampedes are taking place just during ration distribution, where we have seen how people crush old people or women under their feet just to get a bag of flour. We have seen in Pakistan occupied Jammu Kashmir how people are coming out on the streets and now wanting to merge back with India, and they say that they have been illegally occupied by Pakistan. We have seen what is happening in Balochistan, where the Baloch rebels also want independence, and they say that the Pakistan Army and ISI, which consists mainly of Punjabi Muslims, has dominated them and has also stripped them of their basic rights. So, as far as the economic or other situation of Pakistan is concerned, this ruling class does not bother about it.
Despite Pakistan's repeated claims of curbing terrorism, its actions prove otherwise. Terror launchpads along the border remain active, and the Pakistani military continues to provide logistical and intelligence support to terrorists infiltrating into India. The newly discovered infiltration routes and tunnels serve as stark reminders of Pakistan's duplicity and its vested interest in keeping the Kashmir issue alive through violence. However, Indian security forces remain resolute in their commitment to dismantling Pakistan-backed terror networks. The situation for women in Afghanistan has deteriorated since the Taliban's return to power, severely restricting their rights and freedoms. Afghan female athletes, once full of hope and dreams, now face profound isolation and hopelessness. Despite these challenges, they refuse to give up, calling on global athletes for support in their fight for gender equality in sports. Take a look. The situation for women in Afghanistan has reached a critical juncture. Since the Taliban regained control in 2021, countless Afghan women have faced severe restrictions on their rights and freedoms. In a country where education and professional opportunities for women are limited, the plight of female athletes have become particularly poignant. Many have been forced to abandon their dreams and ambitions, hiding from a regime that imposes strict limitations on their existence. Afghan female athletes who are living outside their homeland have made a global plea for unity and support for gender equality in sports, highlighting their struggle under the current regime.
If there is one thing that I would request from the athletes all around the world, it would be, it is time that we unite together, and it's time that women support other women. Just as small as a 1-minute video. It won't take much of time and energy, but it would give us a lot of hope, because hope is the greatest weapon that we're carrying with us. And it would give us a lot of inspiration and support, because you guys have a voice to use. And that platform is there to be used. It is there so you can use it to showcase your unity, to showcase that how much you care about the gender-based equality and equity around the world, especially in sports. I would like to request through this platform from all athletes around the world, especially women, to just come out on their social medias with just 1-minute video announcing their support from this movement and announcing their support from the gender equality and announcing their support for the women of Afghanistan.
Despite the oppressive circumstances, Afghan female athletes refuse to relinquish their fight. Their message is clear. They seek collaboration and support from the global community, including organizations like FIFA, to ensure that no other nation faces the challenges they have endured.
I also want to take this opportunity to mention the resilience, the strength, and amazing unity of our players, that how great, strong human beings they are with all their losses, with the traumas that they have faced, with all the struggles. And Manoj is one of them that I remember. She sent me, when she was escaping from home, she sent me a video of her trophies that she graved in her home, saying that I will come back to my trophies and I will go and save my voice to be the role model and to achieve more trophies for the national team of our country.
While many Afghan women have fled the country, those who remain face a bleak reality under the Taliban's rule. Since seizing control, the Taliban has methodically dismantled women's rights. In December 2022, women were banned from universities after previously being barred from secondary education. In May 2022, they were forced to wear full body coverings in public. By November 2022, they were prohibited from entering amusement parks. In July 2023, the Taliban shut down all beauty salons, one of the last public spaces where women could socialize freely. Last year in December, the Taliban government said it will close all national and foreign non-governmental organizations employing women in Afghanistan. International pressure has been mounting against the Taliban's draconian rule. The United Nations and numerous human rights organizations have labeled their actions as gender apartheid, and calls for formal recognition of this crime under international law have intensified. Despite international condemnation, the Taliban has remained defiant, dismissing these allegations and insisting that their interpretation of Islamic law dictates their governance. And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Newsweek South Asia. We'll be back next week with more news, views and analysis from the subcontinent. Meanwhile, do keep writing to us at nwsa@anin.com. This is Shivangi Mishra signing off on behalf of the entire production team of Newsweek South Asia. Goodbye and take care.